From ghoulies and ghosties.
And long-leggedy beasties.
And long-legged beasties.
And things that go bump in the night.
Good Lord! Deliver us.
Deliver us.
Hello there, spooks and spookettes. Count Drahoon here, and tonight I present you yet another movie review. This time, instead of a big-budget Hollywood endeavor, it's, a modestly budgeted, suspenseful horror film recently put out by A24 called Undertone. It seems to be dividing the horror community as whether or not this is a great film or a terrible one. I've yet to hear the argument on why it's a terrible one, and I'll explain why. But before we begin, allow me to take care of the castle-keeping notes. If you love Count Drahoon Presents, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. And of course, if you're watching this evening and you are subscribed, thank you for your support. Might I invite you to take your support a step further if you feel so led and become a patron on my new Patreon page. We have 2 simple tier levels that are easy on your wallet and are simply to die for. For $1 a month, you will get an exclusive monthly video on my Patreon page in which I will cover a topic that is suggested by you, the viewer. But only you if you're a patron, so if you get on there and subscribe, and you comment below on any of the previous videos and say, "Hey Count, do vampires know how to be pickup artists?" I am cringing on the inside that I've even suggested that topic in existence, but if you really want to talk about it, we will talk about it. For $5 a month, you get that plus exclusive access to my private Discord service. Yes, I am aware I have said exclusive about 8 times, but this is just to reiterate how special you are if you become a patron. So you got the $5 tier, and you get access to my private Discord server, and I will throw your name in as a producer credit at the end of each of my videos, past the point of your subscription. So if you decide to do it after this video, I'll throw you in on the next video. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, let's get to the heart of the matter, and hopefully you won't feel the need to drive a stake through it. So this movie kind of crept up on me. I saw the trailer at the local movie theater, and to be honest with you, I wasn't super impressed. It looked fairly generic to me, and I sort of wrote it off until a friend of mine actually suggested that I go and watch it. So I went with Movie Junkie John from the Horror Sanctum podcast. We went together to our local theater, AMC. This is not a video that is sponsored by AMC, but if they want to, I do use your product, and I do like it. Just saying. So we went together to watch the movie, and I was very impressed. So the last 2 movie reviews I feel like cover a pretty wide spectrum of movies that your Count likes to see. So for Project Hail Mary, I loved the old school, big budget spectacle Hollywood movie vehicle for Ryan Gosling, and I love the high stakes and the drama, the comedy, and all of that. But I also enjoy, well, I won't say that this movie is low budget. It's really a modestly budgeted film, but a slow burn indie horror flick with a cast of relatively unknown actors and, well, I guess an unknown writer and director as well, who make this movie that's only an hour and a half long. You could probably watch Undertone twice in the amount that it would take you to just watch Project Hail Mary once. Two totally different movies, by the way. I don't even know why I'm bringing the other one up in this review, but anyway, I'm sure to make it up for Undertone, people, if you're watching this, I will mention Undertone in another video at some point, but anyway, it's a slow burn, but it builds to a truly horrific crescendo. Well, it's a horror film that's definitely going to be remembered for its sound editing, I will say that. I was not expecting the kind of movie that I got. This was a movie that dealt with grief, because the main story deals with our star, who she is a podcaster, but she is staying with her mother, who's dying. And her mother's also very religious. She's a devout Catholic, so there's a lot of Catholic iconography around the house. But she's there, and she's also dealing with the fact that she is pregnant, and the man that she is with, who is the child's father, is not a very present person, to say the least. And she's dealing with all of this while also trying to maintain a consistent recording schedule with her podcast partner. And lo and behold, while they're recording this podcast series that they're doing about these very strange audio files that were sent in to her partner mysteriously, they have unleashed some sort of ancient demon through these files. So this movie definitely did not have the marketing budget that a lot of big budget movies did. This one relied pretty heavily on word of mouth. I mean, like me, if you're a frequent movie theater goer, you would have heard about it through the trailers, but outside of that, I think they just relied on making a good movie and hoping that we would spread the word about it, which, hey, it worked! So with all that being said, I think Undertone is a perfect case study in the Count Drahoon movie trailer theory, which states that if a movie trailer is bad or unimpressive, it tends to equal a really good movie, and vice versa. Now, I know there are exceptions to the rule, but for the most part, it holds. The trailer gave nothing away about what the actual movie was. There is so much packed into this hour-and-a-half long movie, and you forget that it's an hour and a half. Like, you feel like you're watching like a 2-hour movie, but you're in and out pretty quickly. And of course, I don't mean to suggest that the film drags, because it doesn't. It's like I said, this is... Look, I know I have said in the past that I don't like slow pacing. What I mean to say is that I don't like slow pacing that isn't deliberate. If you don't know what you're doing and this movie is just dragging on, that's what I mean by that. This is a movie that was very well thought out, very well constructed, that deliberately had a slow pace that went somewhere to a very, very big build-up towards the end of the movie, and I'm not going to spoil anything beyond that. So, a lot of people are saying that the horror comes from the sound design, which I totally agree, because you have some really disturbing sound effects in this movie. And I'm not just talking about the audio files, I'm also talking about just the general sound design, especially with the ambiance of the house, while all of these strange things are happening, you know, like after they listen to the audio file or going into the next one, or, you know, in or around the nightmares that she's having in this movie. So I think you could make a solid case that this is one of the best sound designs of a movie made recently, to the point to where it ought to be up for an Academy Award for Best Sound Design, you know, for next year's Oscars, if they can get their act together. But for me, what I feel like a lot of people are not talking about Undertone is really the excellent cinematography. What I found most terrifying about this movie was the parts where you have all of these dark corners, because for whatever reason she wanted to record at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, so of course there's no sun, and you have all these big spaces of just total black in the house. And the way that the camera just subtly flips this way or cuts to one of the icons in the house, at some point you're thinking that the camera is going to start dragging you towards the horror of this movie. And you don't really see the horror of this movie. You hear it mostly. So I just love how this movie did a great job playing with our senses and really triggering things to make us have to use our imaginations without making a traditional horror film, in the sense that, you know, we didn't actually see the demon in this movie. We heard it. We maybe saw glimpses of this demon's capabilities, but it was never fully presented to us. We just saw these little things, you know, these little camera tricks that, you know, took us to these uncomfortable spaces. And that kind of kept us wanting more, but also kept us from wanting more, because we didn't want to go there. We were afraid of what was coming next. The lead actress, Nina Kiri, I believe her name is, if I'm saying that correctly. Well, editing will fix that in post. I hope to see her in more things in the future, because this was an incredible performance. I mean, she basically carried this movie. She was the perfect casting choice for this. Her brokenness, but then also her, you know, trying to pretend like she was much better psychologically and emotionally than she was. A beautiful performance, to say the least. So, of course, how about you? What did you think of Undertone? Be sure to comment below, especially if you didn't like this movie. I'd love to hear the case against Undertone and why maybe it wasn't a good movie, but love to hear your points. But anyway, thank you so much for watching this evening, Spooks and Spookettes. Be sure once again to like this video and subscribe to Count Drahoon Presents if you haven't already, to get notifications on my next video. That's all the time I have this evening, but always remember that as far as things go, when things go bump in the night, there are such things.
From ghoulies and ghosties.
From ghoulies and ghosties.
And long-leggedy beasties.
And long-legged beasties.
And things that go bump in the night.
Good Lord! Deliver us!